future governor of Florida.
Yeah.
We actually met. We met at the UFC fights 2 weekends ago.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks.
Two weekends ago. Are you a UFC fan, or was that your first time at a fight?
No, second time at a fight.
Second time.
I'm a fan of sports, so anytime you get me in a room where there's competition, I love it. The crazy part is that I'm starting to learn UFC, just because it's just cool to watch.
Yeah.
But like, I'm a pro wrestling fan. I'm a basketball junkie, so I love pro and college basketball. Love football, obviously. Playoff baseball is nothing like it. Playoff hockey is actually really cool.
Playoff hockey is
legit, even though I never played hockey, but playoff hockey is legit. But yeah, I'm a pro wrestling junkie. I love this stuff too. And so, starting to get in the UFC.
What was the other card you went to? Do you remember?
I was the Tampa fight. The one they did in Tampa.
Colby Covington?
Yeah, Kobe fought that
night.
Yeah.
Are you tight with Dana at all, or what's your guys' relationship like?
So actually, I got a chance to meet Dana really through the campaign.
Yeah.
With President Trump. First time I really got a chance to meet and talk to Dana. I think it was election night.
Oh wow.
And so I had met Dana, done the handshake, because sometimes you're in rooms and you shake somebody's hand. And so it's election night. I'm at Mar-a-Lago. And I'm standing next to the president. Elon comes in and Dana's there. So I was talking to Dana a little bit. And then the president comes in and he goes, all right, let's go to the buffet. And he's like, well, come on. And so the president's key guy, Walt Natta. Walt's a good friend, good dude. He just looks at me and just go with them. All right. So it's me, Dana, POTUS, and I think Elon was behind us, and POTUS is walking us around the buffet and showing the good stuff. And the staff is like, do you want this? You want that? And so he's like, this is great stuff. That stuff's good. And he looks at Dana, he looks at me, and Dana and I yeah, okay, I guess. And so, we just have fun talking about it. It was a cool time.
And I watched a lot of your stuff leading up to the election, a lot of the interviews. I became a fan of you. One of my favorite moments, though, recently in the last few months is when you just fucking tore apart all those sanctuary city mayors. That was crazy. What was that like? And what is the solution to those sanctuary cities?
Well, the real solution is you can't allow them. It's one of those things that if you let people take an inch, they take a mile. And so the truth is, how you deal with that is, if you're going to be a sanctuary city, you shouldn't get federal money, because you're in violation of federal law. And people may not like that stance, but that's just the way it is. How are you going to take my money then completely go in complete opposition to my rules? That doesn't make any sense. So that's what I think the real solution is. You want to be a sanctuary city? Fine. Then don't rely on federal money, because sanctuary status is against federal law.
Is that something President Trump just implemented? It's
something that Congress, to make it stick, Congress has to do it. And so typically in the Senate, you're not going to get enough Democrat senators who are going to agree with that, because they have sanctuary cities in their state and they don't want to cut them off from federal money. But I think when you talk about it in those terms, then people are like, yeah, that makes sense. Why are you getting taxpayer money when it's clear not every citizen agrees with sanctuary cities? I think most citizens don't agree with it, especially the people who have to live under these sanctuary cities and see what happened, like in New York, Chicago, etc. So that's the number one way you deal with it. The other way you really deal with it is politics. I think if you have people who are saying sanctuary status is a good thing, and then they start losing elections, well, then that just proves where people are. That's really the ultimate way you fix it. What happened in that hearing was actually kind of funny.
That shit was crazy, bro.
But I'm gonna give you this backstory to take this out. So typically in oversight hearings, I'll come in and kind of listen to the dialogue, listen to the ebb and flow, and then decide on the fly in real time. I'll make a decision. What kind of questions do I want to ask? So I'm sitting there, I'm starting to sketch some stuff out, and I got a text message from my political team, and some stuff was happening on the political side, and it's the interpersonal stuff that happens in politics. When you're dealing, it's like Republicans against Republicans, that kind of stuff. And so my political team sent me a text message, and I was reading the messages and it was pissing me off. So I was kind of in a foul mood. And then it just so happened those mayors were in front of me. So like I was in a foul mood and those mayors basically they took the heat.
Yeah.
And I just started repping them. Because the thing about it is if you start asking them, well, how much money are you spending?
You were like a tiger in the grass and they're just like a hopeless antelope. That's what it felt like watching that. Like the Boston mayor.
Yeah.
It was just not even fair, right?
Well, that's her fault.
I know.
You should have came with an answer. And if you come with an answer and you're professional about it, I don't have any problems with it. I'll disagree with you.
Right.
But when you come in, you try to do a bunch of BS and you try to posture like you're the only person that's good, when everybody else can see that you're ridiculous and you're a joke, and you don't even have enough courage to tell the people of Boston how much money you spent on illegal immigration, then I'm done with you. Yeah. I got no patience with that.
To me, it's just common sense too, like the sanctuary city thing, same as men playing in women's sports. Like it's just dead common sense. Why do you think they have that stance? Are they doing that to please voters? Do they actually believe in sanctuary cities? What do you think? Or is it corruption?
I think part of it is try to please their base. I mean, I think people got to understand the Democrat Party for about 30 years now has been on the side of illegal immigration or rampant open immigration. Like they don't want rules. They don't want borders. They just want people to come into the country. I think for some, they think it's a good thing to let people come into the United States and be able to build their lives up. I think for other Democrats, their view is, I think their view is that they want just open immigration because they have interest groups in their party, at the base of their party, that, do voter outreach, voter registration, get voters to the polls. And that's how they build their power base politically. And so I think what's really happened to the Democrats is that the open immigration / illegal immigration wing of their party just became so dominant in terms of activism, messaging, that the Democrats just went down that line and didn't know where to stop. And I think that's really what happened to them. I think you had probably core Democrats, old school Democrats who were like, I believe in open borders, but this thing's a little crazy now. But they couldn't really say anything to like the political leadership in the Democrat Party, or even radical Democrats who do believe 100% that we should not have borders, that we should just let everybody into the country. But you just simply can't do that. It doesn't work.
Where do you think the Democrat Party goes from here? Where are they going to be at in 4 years? Because I feel like they're going to have to abandon some of the super woke ideology, right? Do you think they shift a little back more to the center, or what do you think?
I really don't know. I think they're searching right now.
Yeah.
Like I just did a town hall.
Seeing what sticks.
Yeah, I did a town hall last night. And man, I got to tell you, it was crazy, but it was fun.
So what was up with that? There was a lot of like people were booing and like talking back.
Well, I think you have a lot of Democrats who are like your base activist Democrats in every part of the country. They're upset that they lost last election. They're upset that Republicans control all three branches of government. And I think that their response is yelling and booing, cursing. You saw the people who were like trying to throw Molotov cocktails at Teslas, and the one guy, I think it was down here in Miami, who he shit in his hand and smeared it on the side of a Cybertruck and stuff like that. God. And you see this stuff, and I think that's because people are lashing out because they don't like the political results that they see. I think for the Democrat Party overall, they're going to have to decide which party they're going to be, and I don't think they know yet. I think it's really all over the place. I think you have some Democrats who are trying to find a way to moderate and say, all right, men and women's sports, that's crazy. We shouldn't be about that. Standing with Hamas, or trying to have this moral equivalency with Israel and Hamas. We got to get away from that and be more pro-Israel. And then you have, and then obviously illegal immigration, like, all right, look, maybe we do have to secure the border and not allow for sanctuary status and things of that nature. And then you get other Democrats, these are the ones who are louder. They're more radical, who are saying, no, we need to double down and triple down. Yes, They want to allow for men and women sports. They want to allow for transgenderism.
Who's still pushing that out of like the big Democrats?
Oh man, AOC and Bernie, that's what they're doing right now.
Like Bernie's still saying men and women sports and AOC?
Last I heard, AOC's still doing it. They're upset about this stuff. In their view,
you got to give that one up at least.
And listen, I did another thing. I was in Orlando. This lady was like, upset. She would go, I go, what's the problem? Like, talk to me. I want to know. She was at one of those protests, and she goes, I want you to leave our kids alone. They know who they are. And I'm like, yeah, that's crazy. I'm not doing that. Let kids go through puberty. Let them grow up. If as an adult, if you decide you want to do stuff to your body, like, I don't agree with you, but you're an adult.
But do what you want. Yeah.
That's at that point, that's your business. But we should be protecting kids. And you have a lot of Democrats, radical Democrats, who still don't agree with that. So I think they're going to continue to take, that 10% of the issue in terms of what people believe in the country, 10 to 15%. And if they want to die on that hill, I don't know how the Democrat Party comes out of that.
I agree. What was the biggest messaging that people were pissed off about at your speech the other night?
Oh man,
what made them like freak out?
Doge.
Yeah. Why are people so upset with Doge?
I don't know.
It makes perfect sense to me.
If you're going to try to quantify it, I think what they're really upset about is they feel like, how can the richest man in the world have the ability to go through the federal agencies? But if you're going to have anybody go through and bring efficiencies to the federal government, shouldn't it be people who've done this in the real world come into the government sphere and try to make it more efficient? Like, that just makes sense. And I think in their minds, they're fine with it as long as a Democrat does it. I mean, let's be honest. Last night I was telling them that they were upset that Elon had access to the Social Security database. And then when I told them that during Joe Biden's administration, he allowed 53 students to have the same access to the same database, they booed. They were like, no, don't talk about Joe Biden. At least Elon's doing it to try to find waste, fraud, and abuse and try to find ways to make the system more efficient. Joe Biden let 53 students have the same access. And, I don't know what they were doing in there. But at the same time, you can't be upset when it's Elon and not be upset when it's college students. But there's no limiting principle. There's no consistent argument that they're making. I think it's just more lashing out because Trump is president and Elon is running Doge. And I think they're more upset about the fact that terrible government spending programs are being called out, as opposed to working, with the other side of the aisle, with Republicans, and saying, you know what? Donald Trump won. He has a mandate. These crazy things should not be funded in government. Let's get that out. And then let's focus on the things that are going to remain in government spending and move forward.
What do you make of like all Trump's tariffs and the stuff he's doing right now?
I think what the president is doing is resetting global trade. And look, the way I always look at it is, 60 years ago, the American economy was by far the biggest in the world. We're still the biggest economy today. But the difference is we're not just mammoth compared to the other ones. The other world economies have caught up. They have. I bring the analogy of the dream team, like in '92, when Michael and Larry and Magic were taking on, and Charles Barkley and Patrick Ewing and those guys, when they were taking on these other countries, man, everybody knew they were going to win the gold. It was not close, and we knew it wasn't close. So Angola could hack and foul and do all this stuff, and it really didn't matter because they were going to win by 50. In today's version of the United States basketball team, our guys got to show up to training camp. They got to work hard. They got to do that stuff. The game's got to be called evenly, and we got to work. And yeah, we still win gold, but it's not the same like it was. So in trade, we can't have other countries take advantage of America in trade where they get to tariff us and we just sit here and act like everything's okay. The other piece is trade enforcement, which most people don't really focus on. We are terrible, the United States, at enforcing our own trade deals. So that's like you cut a deal for Happy Dad, right? And let's say your distributor said, all right, we're going to distribute, 1,000 cases of Happy Dad here. And then when you go in and look, you realize that your distributor you got to deal with only distributed 800 cases, not the 1,000 that's in your deal.
So there's just no oversight.
And then
after
you're
those
just like,
deals,
oh, yeah, okay, well, no big deal. They're still doing 800 cases. That's good. That's how the United States deals with enforcement and trade.
Right.
It's stupid. And so what Donald Trump is doing is saying, look, we're going to reset the balance in trade. This is my opinion of what the president's doing. We're going to reset the balance in global trade. We'll have agreements with nations who want to enter into fair and equitable agreements. And in that environment, you can have free trade. We can't have a current situation continue much more where China, who is the worst offenders, steal IP, violate trade deals, tariff our product coming from America and say, oh no, everything is okay, while you have manufacturing going overseas, while Americans aren't part of the wealth creation process of building and creating things that people buy, whether it's here in America or around the globe.
What was it like getting that Trump endorsement?
Crazy. I'll tell you the story. You want to know what happened?
Yeah.
So I'm in a event in Naples. I live in Naples. Beautiful place. I'm in an event with one of my colleagues from Kentucky, and my phone is just ringing. And I got the smart watch, so my thing is just buzzing, and I'm ignoring it because I'm in this meeting with a bunch of donors for my colleague from Congress. And so finally, I'm like, man, what is going on? Like, my wife called me. And I could see it on the face of my watch, and I'm like ignoring it because I'm in this meeting. I'm like, all right, I'll call her back. She calls me again, and I'm like, dang, what's going on? So I was like, I'll get to her in a second. Let this end, and I'm gonna call her the second I get out of the room. Well, then my phone rings. Now my phone's always on silent, except for two people. My comms director, Daniel, in case I'm supposed to be like in a media hit or something and I'm running late, and he'll call me and I'll be like, oh shoot, Daniel's calling me, I'm missing something. Or President Trump. So my phone is ringing. I'm thinking, dang, Daniel's calling me now? Like, what's happening? I look at the face of my watch and it says 40. It says I could see 47.
That's what you got it saved as?
For him in my phone, he was 45. And then when he won, it became 45, 47.
Yeah.
So, if anybody saw All About the Benjamins with Mike Epps and Ice Cube, and he was singing the jingle on the lotto, 45, 47. Yeah. So that's why I have it saved as. And so I see 47 on my watch, and I'm like, oh, shoot. So I look at my phone and I show it to my colleague, and I go, yo, look. And he goes, you better answer that. So it's the president. So I called, picked up, went into the corner of the room, and everybody that was there is like, he's on the phone with the president. So everybody shuts up while I'm taking the call. President goes, Byron, I did something big. I did big stuff. You're going to love it. You're going to like what I did. And I'm like, yes, sir. Well, he told me what happened. He told me about, endorsing you to be governor. You're going to do great. You're a real winner. I put out a great message. He's like, you worked hard for me, and I'm there for you. And I just told him I appreciate it. I'm not going to let him down. And so I hang up the phone, and everybody in the room is like, what did the president want? And I go, the president just endorsing me to be governor of Florida. The whole room goes berserk.
Damn.
These are donors. It's like a fundraiser. These are donors, and they're screaming and yelling, and they're all excited. So that's how I found out. I found out in the fundraiser. That's dope. So it was cool.
Who do you think will be the other opponent? Will it be Casey DeSantis?
Man, I don't know. We'll see. I think, look, she's got decisions to make. The governor's got decisions to make. I don't really know what they're going to do. As far as I'm concerned, I'm focused on me. President Trump supports me. Rick Scott, our senator now, former governor, he supports me. Most of the congressional delegation supports me. We're picking up support all through the state. We're doing a great job raising money. And I'm not just sitting back saying, oh, well, President Trump endorses me, so I'm going to chill at the beach in Naples or just hang out in DC and do my job as a member of Congress. We're going everywhere. I was just at a community lunch before I came here. I was at community lunch in Miami over in Pinecrest doing that. Like, I'm going to be everywhere in our state. I was in Jacksonville last week. I think I'm in Tampa later this week. I mean, I'm going all over the place because I think you really got to go earn the support of people. And so whoever decides to run, they're going to have to pick up the pace, because when I campaign, there's no stone left unturned.
How do you think DeSantis has done over his term?
Well, he's done a great job. He really has. The governor DeSantis has done a great job. There's no doubt about that. I think for the next governor of Florida, it's about building upon the work he's done, the way he built upon the work that Rick Scott did when Rick Scott was governor. And so when you compare us to other states, we're the best state in the country. Everybody knows it. People keep coming here. They want to be a part of the fabric of Florida. So now it's keeping the stuff that Ron DeSantis has done, and then getting into the new fixes on insurance, transportation. My personal goal for Florida is to make it the financial capital of the world. We have every ability to do that.
How do you do that?
I think it's attracting more private equity, more private debt, corporate headquarters to Florida. What I want to see in central Florida around Cape Canaveral is for Florida to really build an aerospace and tech hub that rivals Silicon Valley. Digital assets, crypto, Bitcoin, all that stuff has really found a home in Miami-Dade. And so in DC, we're actually about to do market structure. We're doing stablecoin legislation, and we're going to do market structure legislation this Congress. And so that's going to build the regulatory framework for more capital to be invested in the United States around crypto and digital assets and Bitcoin and all that stuff. And I want that to be here in Miami, in South Florida. And so the vision is, if you attract high finance, continue to attract it from Chicago and New York, because their governments are terrible. Yeah. Terrible governments. People don't want to be there anymore. You start recruiting a lot of, the tech guys out of Palo Alto, having them come to Florida. You really set the stage for Florida to become the financial capital of the world, where it's not where you're rivaling London, you're rivaling Dubai, you're rivaling Singapore. I think that's the vision.
Yeah, we moved here about a year and a half ago from California.
Yeah.
We were there for about 6 years. And yeah, it's just like Florida's just unreal in every way. I mean, the taxes, and then just Miami's just such a great city.
Yeah, we got to fix the traffic though. We got some, we got to work through it.
Yeah, trying to get up to Fort Lauderdale, or like to go see a game up there or something. It's a bit fucked. How do you fix that though?
I think part of it is you have to deal with I'm gonna get a little technical for a moment. It's not just about 95. It's about how you get on and off 95. It's all of the interchanges in the local roads and the state roads and the interstate. I know right now we have a Tri-Rail and Brightline that run up and down the coast. What also runs on those lines is commercial freight. So people will see it. There'll be the super long CSX trail cars that take forever, because when the arms drop, it just takes forever to get there. So I think one of the ways what you do there is you try to move those lines through the center of the state, so you alleviate traffic here. That alleviates congestion from people having to stop to wait for the train to pass. And so then traffic moves more smoothly. It's finishing a bunch of the road construction in Miami-Dade. It's just like in Orlando, just like in Tampa or in Jacksonville. I think what we want to do, and I think the governor's starting some of it now, is expand the bonding capacity for the Florida Department of Transportation to move projects in a 10-year window up, to get them completed faster. And then working with local governments, counties, cities, metropolitan planning organizations, we call them MPOs in the state, working with them to figure out the little projects that really can go a long way. And then the last piece, and I think the engineering has come a long way. I'm hearing rumblings that people are starting to think about, is it possible to really do tunnels in Florida? And, you have to look at the engineering on that. I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but I think on that one, does the engineering make sense? Does the costs savings make sense? And if you can do that, you can actually really alleviate a lot of traffic, even make the place more desirable.
Really, really quick, guys. You guys have been asking for this for a while. We just restocked fullsend.com with a bunch of new full send golf stuff. It's been out of stock for a long, long time. You guys have been blowing us up. We need new golf shit. We need new golf shit. Here's one of the tees I got on right now. There's a bunch of new ones on the website. I love the quality of this golf shit. It's super like dry fit feeling. It's really, really nice. I wear these on the course. A full sender, happy to have one all the time. Golf season's coming back up in all the winter cities. I know all the Canadians are getting back into golf. If you guys need a new golf fit, go to fullsend.com. I love these golf tees. Cop one. Let me know what you guys think. Let's get back into the pod. You were a Democrat in 2010, right?
Yeah.
What made you transition to being a Republican?
Well, actually, I realized I was a conservative in '08. I was doing, I'm from Brooklyn, New York. So, my family were all registered Democrats. So I did what most people do. When you register to vote, you register as a Democrat. Mm-hmm. That's what I did.
Right.
And then in '08, when the financial collapse was happening, I was doing research for my company. And I realized through my research and really starting to understand politics that I was actually very conservative. I didn't vote for Barack Obama in '08. I didn't agree with him, even though I was a Democrat. I voted for John McCain. I didn't agree with Barack Obama when it came to economic policy and healthcare. I disagreed. And I was proven right. History is proven that I'm right.
And would you say that publicly at the time or no? Or was it?
I said it to my mom.
Right.
That was an interesting conversation. She was not happy, man. My mom was like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
And I think, and I understand why. I think for my mom, and really for the country, I think it was a signal and a culmination that America, in spite of our past, has come to a point where a black man can be president of the United States.
Yeah.
But the other part of what my mother always instilled in me never left. And my mother always taught me, don't follow the crowd. Don't follow the crowd. Don't just do what people say you should do because everybody's doing it. You got to think for yourself. And so when I looked at the policies that then Senator Obama was campaigning on, I didn't agree. So how can you vote for somebody if you don't agree with what they're saying? And that was really the first step towards me, changing parties. And then as I continued to become, more conservative, being involved in the Tea Party movement back in 2009, 2010, I woke up one day, I was just like, you're a conservative. You're a part of the local Tea Party movement, but you're still a registered Democrat. Why are you still a registered Democrat? Just go change your registration. Mm-hmm. So I did. That was 2010.
What was it like in 2010 compared to now being like an African-American conservative? Do you notice any difference in support? Like back then, I'm sure it must have been a lot more crazy as it is now.
Oh, you were definitely stepping out there. There's no doubt about that. But that time though, I wasn't like even thinking about running for office. That was like the furthest thing from my mind.
Right.
So it was just more of a personal decision. And then it was also something like, with my family, with my mom and stuff, for them to know that I'd changed parties and become a Republican. They pretty much knew that from like my Facebook posts, because if you go back to my old Facebook, which I'm quite sure everybody's people who, do that kind of stuff, they go back and research everything you've ever posted and everything you've ever said. They've gone back and looked through my Facebook and all that stuff from back in the day. And I would have these debates about public policy with people. Then I found that to be it was kind of a waste of time, so I stopped doing it. But I did that stuff. So even though you were black and a conservative in the time when Obama was president, man, it was lonely. And so you had to have the courage of your convictions if you were going to, step out and demonstrate that you were a Tea Party conservative in the era of Obama. So, a lot of times now when I go into town halls and, I'm taking on all comers, the reason why I'm comfortable and doesn't really bother me is because I was expressing myself politically back when it wasn't like a cool thing to be a black Republican or to be a black conservative. And there was no Twitter sphere or influencers, or there was none of that. Mm-hmm. So you're just out there having debates with people you went to college with, went to high school with, and you're having to defend your position and you're probably losing friends in the process.
Definitely right.
But you have to be willing to stand on your own 2 feet and be the man that God has called you to be.
Do you believe that America still has like a problem with racism, like systemic racism?
No, I think that the country did. I mean, that's obvious.
Of course.
We definitely did, but I don't think so anymore. I think the country now where we are as close to a meritocracy, I think, as we've ever been in America. And I think you're starting to see that in all frames of life. You're seeing it in business. You're seeing it in politics. You're seeing it obviously in sports and entertainment, but really in entertainment with what you guys are doing. I think podcasting, influencing, if that's not a meritocracy, I don't know what is. Like I was in Vegas for WrestleMania, and I was there for night one. It was crazy. I had to watch night two on the plane, but I was watching night one. I was there in at Allegiant. And so, you know, you have